Great. Hello, and hey, welcome to Geeks Assembled. And today we are discussing a Netflix series, brand new Netflix series called Altered Carbon. We're going to be discussing the first episode called Out of the Past. Let's see what everybody thought of this series. Let's go to Beef Dad first. Let's see what his take on this episode is.
Well, how do I put this? I would never ever bother to watch another episode. I didn't enjoy it. I didn't find any of the characters particularly sympathetic. There was nobody who really grabbed me as giving a good performance. I didn't like the writing. I didn't like the direction. The whole thing just felt like it felt like somebody had put a lot of things into a big pot and just stirred it and filmed it as they were stirring it.
Yep.
For me, it really did absolutely nothing.
Well, see, he likes it. And we'll go over to Susan and Alex.
Yeah, I kind of agree with Beef. I kind of agree with Beef Dad. I might see this again, and I know I've mentioned it a billion times, but it just kept reminding me of Westworld and Blade Runner, and like a bad version of it. It could have been something. I'm not sure what they were trying to do. I don't know if they were trying to. It just reminded me of so many other shows and so many other examples of shows. I might watch it again, but then again, I'm not running to watch it. They might be setting up an interesting plot line, but I wanted more questions answered. For instance, if they're not real or if they're in somebody else's body, what type of society is it that it's okay if unfortunately a girl died at the age of 7 could then show up in the body of an old woman? I mean, I would think that I could see maybe a society agreeing to it, but I don't know how you could try to fix that in one episode. And then it sort of reminded me of another show that I used to like, but it was a mini series. And it's very difficult to get into the show when it keeps reminding you of other shows. It was called Wild Palms, and it was with Jim Belushi and Dana Delaney and Ernie Hudson from Ghostbusters. And even there, even though I've met people that didn't like that show, that was actually explained better than this show. So I'm not quite sure where they're going. I don't know if they're trying to do a pastiche of Mickey Spillane with ninja type of theme with Westworld, but it's not Westworld. And then they have oily blood, like black oil blood, and I was kind of like, I don't know. It just seemed like they needed a better setup, and I think they were so interested in showing the sets and the gunfight that they didn't. That's the other problem, is that maybe it was too much style, but not enough combination of substance. And I think even though they were trying to set it up, even I kind of said, well, because even with Wild Palms and other shows and other movies, they've set the culture up better, so it actually seemed to make more sense. And this one was just kind of like Beef Dad said, you just throw everything up against the wall. And I'm not against that, but I just think they didn't explain it well enough. So it just didn't necessarily appeal. And then come to think of it, are any of the characters likable anyway? So it's kind of, you know what I mean? I appreciate that they tried to do something, but I was kind of like, I'd rather be watching the 3 other ones that I mentioned already, and I can watch them again and again, even though they're a little off-putting in a sense, but they made more sense and they had more flair than this one.
And I it was a bit of a jarring experience for me to watch it, but science fiction can be the first time you see it, but it seems dystopian and not really positive. And I look for science fiction that grants hope, that gives you like a tray full of hope, because that's why I've always watched it. I've always read it, was for this, presentation of hope. And so I guess I'm kind of over this dystopian thinking. But anyway, yeah, I didn't really, I'm not sure about enough about the characters to know whether or not I really like them or can really relate to them. I mean, I don't really relate to the idea that the soul can jump the body, but I did read a book by Anne Rice called The Tale of the Body Thief, but that was about supernatural beings doing it, not just like everybody doing it, which was weird. Anyway, just wanted to, I was connected. I sort of connected to it like that through, but the thing was kind of like Blade Runner in a way, and kind of like Tales of the Body Thief in a way. So anyway, that was my initial response to it. Go for it, Lee.
Right. I must be the only one who liked it then. Well, what you've got to remember is this is the first episode of is it a 10-part series? So, as Alex says, it's setting it up. So this usually sets things up for the 9 other episodes coming along. Yes, there's a lot of concepts in this, and things pinched from others, as say, Blade Runner, Total Recall, stuff like that. I did like the idea of the is it a downloading the memories and stuff into a sleeve, as they called it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I sort of, I mean, yeah, science fiction. Yeah, I sort of, got that. It visually, it's brilliantly looking. The city, the landscape, and everything. The music. I agree with what you said. The characters in this episode, there's not one what's really you can feel for, or you can say, oh yeah, I know what's going to happen here and stuff like that. But as I say, it's only the first episode. But if we'd have sat down and watched the full series, that would be 10 hours, where of our week taken up. So usually on something like this, we only watch the first episode. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I really did love the Raven Hotel. For the Edgar Allan Poe themed hotel, I did like that with the pendulum clock and all that. For me, yeah, I liked it. I most probably will watch the rest of the series at a later date, because it's to say, at the end of it, he took up the case of. I'm trying to remember the English actor's name who plays the guy who hired him, James. Is it James Purefoy or something like that? Yeah. Yes, I do like it. I like that actor. I'm terrible with names this lately, but yeah, I do like the concept where he wants to hire him to find out who's murdered him before he got downloaded into another sleeve, sort of thing. Sci-fi can mess with your head, and this is one series what does. I think. It's got a big following. It's been very successful on Netflix. It's one of the biggest viewed shows on Netflix at the moment. So they're doing something right. even if people don't, some people don't like it. But for me, I enjoyed it. It's everything can't be everybody's cup of tea, I suppose. So, any of you guys, anything what you thought was quite good or you want to trash? Over to you.
I mean, again, it wasn't that it was 100% bad or even 80% bad. I just have, I don't know, maybe they should have spent more time in the setup. I mean, I did kind of relate to the woman that was very agitated. I guess she was a cop or whatever, which again, I understand that's not the most original concept. That's fine, but I don't know how you're working at your job and you're constantly, everybody has their own holographic screen. I know that people are using tablets. I'm using tablets right now, and we have a laptop and all that, but I guess it's weird, but I've almost never been in any work environment where they allow that much interactive and that much devices in front of you. And then she's swearing and all this other stuff. So I know things have changed. I know people swear a lot now, but I was kind of like, I mean, I did not like her character, but like I said, I have a feeling they were trying to introduce too many things at once, and I think they probably should have had a little bit more structure. Like I said, I understand they're trying to do something. The other thing, as you mentioned, Lee, it kind of, I didn't quite understand I definitely think it would have added to my sci-fi enjoyment if they had explained more about how do they save your, and we've had this in Doctor Who and Red Dwarf where they put your personality or your essence or your soul, so to speak, on a chip. That's fine. But I didn't quite understand the sleeve, and then I guess they have a proviso that as long as the head is intact, you don't die. But then I don't understand how they feel anything, and I don't understand how they could enjoy themselves. So are they a hologram? Are they not a hologram? Is it an android body? I didn't feel that they explained it. I understand that puts them in a hole if they explain it too quickly. But the way they described it didn't pull me in. It's not like Westworld or Wild Palms where they were sort of doing it with a hallucinogen and alcohol and a 3D camera. I understand that's not the smartest thing, but at least it makes some kind of sense to describe it. You know what I mean? And I think the descriptions weren't good enough.
Maybe it might be explained.
Yeah, in a later episode, yeah. Well, that's the other thing, too, is that I've noticed that you guys have noticed it more than I have, that lately not only do they tell the story kind of backwards or in mid-flashback, but they seem to take 5 episodes to explain something, which is okay if you're committed to watching the show. But if you're not committed to watching the show, I don't necessarily want to watch every TV show for 8 episodes to have something explained to me. So I feel like it was kind of a bit of a cheat, and I would have preferred more explanation, because if they could have done it in the first episode better, or if they could have given me more likable characters, then I'd be more committed to watching it. And it just didn't pull me in. Like I said, I do notice they had a few British actors, but I mean, I'd rather be watching Iron Fist or The Defenders or Luke Cage. And I understand on purpose they stretched out the episodes, but the episodes also had a point, and I just felt like this didn't have a point. I just had a feeling like we were trying to do, okay, this is Netflix version of Westworld and Blade Runner, and we'll throw everything at the camera and you'll be in awe. And it's kind of like I feel a little bit, I'm not impressed by that that sentiment. And like I said, I'm not a producer, so it's easy for me to criticize, but I just kind of wish they had done a little bit more setup and present, like if they presented from only the cop's point of view, or maybe if they had done it from it felt like they were trying to have like 20 points of view in one episode, and it's too much. Yeah, it's too discordant. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, okay, I know you want to be interesting, but you're trying too hard to be interesting. Okay, Beef Dad. Sorry about that.
That's all right. I absolutely agree with you. I mean, the writing really was pretty dodgy. The whole thing about a first episode is there should be at least something that pulls you in, at least one character that pulls you in. The only one who came anywhere near close to that was the guy behind the desk at the Raven. But the thing is, he was just a machine. He was AI. Yeah, it was, and you know that he's not going to be ongoing. As you say, they tried to push too much into one episode, and because of that, they just ended up with a complete and utter mishmash. I mean, as I say, it was like somebody had thrown loads and loads of things into a saucepan. Never mind about the recipe. Let's just throw everything we can into the saucepan, and then expect people to enjoy it. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah, I don't know who wrote this, or it might have been one person writing this, or it might have been a writing team, because sometimes a team of writers on room working together, that could come out like a mishmash of ideas, and sometimes it doesn't work. I can all see your points of view. Yes, there was a lot rammed into one episode. As I say, it intrigued me. I mean, I'm into sort of it's sort of like a sci-fi steampunk sort of adventure sort of thing, and that's for me, I like that sort of stuff. So I'm gullible. But yeah. Go on.
No, go ahead. I just want to jump in when you're done.
Go on.
And there's nothing. I love sci-fi, so it's not that it's not that I don't want to like it. It's that I don't like it enough. You know what I mean? And like I said, I'm all for a pastiche. I like Doctor Who. I like Blake Seven. I like Wild Palms. So, like I said, that's why I'm trying to balance it by saying that I've shown it to people and they've gone, yeah, I don't like this about Doctor Who, whether it's the old or the new, or I don't like this about Blake Seven. But the thing is, it's written in such a way that they know exactly why they don't like it, whereas here it's kind of like, you know what I mean? I want them to be ambitious. I understand it's a tough audience too, and I understand we're in the age of the internet and streaming and YouTube, and you can watch anything for 10 seconds or 100 seconds or whatever. But the part that was missing is you have to have a good story. Like when they were talking in the car, and I felt like, well, if they could have done it a little nicer, it would have pulled me in. I know they were trying to be modern with, I don't care about you and I don't care about, but it's like, okay, but if you can set something up, because the other problem is now, as I'm watching the show, I'm going, well, is the world important, or the society, or the computers? You know what I mean? I just, you know what I mean? It's like, where's my hero? Where's my villain? Where's the any type of reality that I can count on, so I can care about something about this show? You know what I mean?
So, like, that's really what I was. That's what I was saying. Was that I was looking for something to propel me into hope, and there wasn't a lot of that. I mean, the sleeve is not something that is protected, and the person within it isn't protected, and there's nothing really that nobody is assured of any sort of continuing existence or continuing personhood even. I mean, anyway, that's just what.
Yeah, and then
there may be hope at the end of the series. You don't, as I say, this is only episode 1.
All right, true that.
It might, yeah, it might start as there's hope, there's despair, whatever. But by the end of the series, there might be hope at the end of it. We don't know. But, me, for one, I will give this series a chance. To,
Okay.
But if there's nothing anybody else wants to say, should we go final say and their scores?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay then. Susan, Alex, final say and score.
All right. Well, I'll give this a 6 out of 10. I need more, but I don't know if I'm gonna watch this. But anyway, that's my score.
Yeah, I mean, again, not to be too heavy, but yeah, I mean, I'd probably only watch maybe 3 more episodes. It just didn't seem to have any real narrative or character to care about or a realistic foothold so that I can start to grasp that this might be a virtual reality society or a holographic society or a society where, and that's the other thing, because at least Westworld and Wild Palms, they explained why everything you saw wasn't necessarily real or only partially real through holograms or robots or hallucinogens. Here, I couldn't tell, you know what I mean? It's like, you're making the viewer work too hard, and there didn't seem to be a foothold. There didn't seem to be a character to really root for. So it just didn't, you know what I mean? Because if there was something to sort of make that concrete and then you go wild and then you go from this viewpoint to that viewpoint, I would have found it more interesting or more intriguing. But the way it was like, here's a hologram and here's not a hologram and here it is again. And it's kind of like, well, I can do that with a video game, so I don't know why. Don't concentrate on that as much. Give me something that I can really feel the confusion or schizophrenia or something a little closer to reality, so then I can say, okay, do I want to have the challenge of trying to figure out what's real and what isn't? But if everybody's body can change and everybody's age can change and appearance, but you don't give me anything except, oh, it's a sleeve, which is cute, but the word is cute, but it's not enough of a pull to say, okay, let me, like the Twilight Zone or like Doctor Who or like Blake 7. Why do I want to see this scenario? Why do I want to see this situation? Why do I want to see this strategy? But if I don't have any character that I care about, it's like, what's the pull beside visually to say, okay, I'm going to spend time to pay money and waste my internet and watch it and then try to care about the characters. You know what I mean? Like I said, there's been other shows that have done it. Twilight Zone, Wild Palms, lots of other things. Oh, so I'd have to give it. I'd have to give it a 7, and kind of disappointing.
All right, and Beef Dad.
There is absolutely no way that I am going to spend any more of my life watching this. I resent the fact that I have lost an hour of my life to this already. The characters, nobody there grabs you. The storyline, it just isn't there yet. And, the whole idea of the first episode of a series is to grab the viewer so that they want to watch more. I would rather open a vein than watch another one of these. So, I mean, for me, it gets a 4.
Oh dear, the problems of watching modern TV. You see, I picked this one totally at random, to be honest. I knew it's only just aired in February of this year on Netflix. They put all the episodes up at once, I think. Like they're always doing now. And I'd heard reviews about it, so I thought, yeah, because we have to, start doing some modern stuff. And thought, well, let's do an episode of this. I agree with what everybody says. The characters out there, but for me, I think the story is going to go further along in the further episodes. So I am going to give it a chance, as I said before. I enjoyed it. As I say, it's stunning to look at. I agree with what you say as well. Some of the acting's not on top form, shall we say? But what can you do? But for me, I enjoyed it. Say that you should give it a 6. I'm going to give it an 8. I'll give it an 8. I enjoyed it. An 8 makes me want to say, go to the next episode, and if it doesn't get any better than that, then I stop. So it's an 8 from me. I do apologise, Beef Dad, that you've lost an hour, but that's being a member of the Geeks Assembled. What can you do? Yeah. We'll reduce your membership fee for next year. How's that? Pardon?
You're getting weirder by the day, Lee Wilson.
I know. It's these late nights I keep having. So, thank you guys for coming to talk about this episode. Thanks for watching. And I would like to say to all you guys out there, please leave a comment below. Let us know what you thought of this episode or what you thought of the whole series. So we haven't seen the rest of the series. We've just done one episode. Please give us a thumbs up or give us a thumbs down, because every little helps. Share the video about. You'll find us on Facebook. We're on Twitter at Geeks Assembled. We've got a Tumblr. We're still trying to figure out that one. And if you want to be involved in these fun casts, it's never a chore. Please get in touch. Say we're on Facebook. Just leave a message. I'll leave a message on the videos below. Say, look, can I join? And then we get Susan to vet you. Yes. She's got big, heavy industrial rubber gloves for that. So, and on that note, it's bye from me, and it's bye from them. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, everybody.